So we baled last night as long as we could until the dew shut us down. So I'm going back out there this morning to see if I can't catch some of this morning dew if it gets too dry and hot. But the first thing I need to do is stop here at the slough and start damming up this water, because we're hoping by the end of the day that we can get all the hay hauled out of these fields and turn these pivots on. It might be late tonight, but that's what we're gonna try to do. So our pump house for our pivots is right over there by that power pole. And we got these culverts here on this bridge that goes down to our field. So I'm just gonna throw some boards in here, see if I can't back some of this water up. So we're the second to last family that has a water right on this slough. So we gotta make sure we let enough water go that our neighbors get what they need. But I think there's still about a day or two before they're ready to turn on their pivots over here on this field next to us. So I'm just gonna dam this off and see what we got, then we'll start letting more water through if we need to. So I don't ever make that dam watertight, because like I was saying, we got to let water go down to our neighbor. So I just try to back it up here as best I can, then adjust it as we need to, if he needs more water or less water. But we'll start with this and see where that gets us. I really had to do some farmer rigging this morning. So I came out here this morning to try to finish baling this field. It got a little bit too wet on me last night. It's this horse hay piece right here, and my accumulator started giving me fits. So these two buttons here right below my monitor are the buttons I push to trip these accumulators so I can dump them bales. And the left side's working fine, but the right side was acting up. I'd push the button that wouldn't dump them bales. So the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to push that button, then down here under the accumulator, this solenoid here is supposed to activate and retract, but it's not retracting for some reason. I don't know if it's an electrical problem or if that bolt got stripped out. So that's supposed to retract like that. So when that retracts, that releases that catch right there, and that dumps this side of the accumulator and dumps off my bales. Like I said, it wasn't working, so I was having to get out here every time and pull this lever. It's a manual lever here. You just come up here and pull it like that, then it would dump your bed. So I got sick of getting in and out of the tractor, so I just grabbed some baling twine, wrapped around that lever, threaded it up through here and back down the other side here, into the tractor cab to where I run all my cables, back through here. And I got myself a little bit of slack so I don't pull on it too tight when I'm turning. So when I need to dump a bale, all I do is reach down, grab this twine, pull on it, and that dumps my bales. So the problem's fixed for the moment, and I can get this field finished, and I can look at it later. So we're coming up on my area where I'm dumping all these bales. I'll show you how this works. There they went. Farmer rig. A whole lot more I want to bale up. I think 4 more windrows, because I don't really want to start baling up all these heavy swales where all that quackgrass is. I want to give that the rest of the day to dry out. We'll finish baling that up tonight after it's dried out all day. So I'm just baling up this thinner stuff that's kind of around it. All right, that's about all she wrote this morning for baling. I don't do a whole lot of baling in the morning just because I'm usually at work. So I'm kind of new to this and trying to figure out all the kinks. I've done it a few times and it just seems like there's a pretty tight time window you got to bale up your hay in the morning. If you start too early, there's still too much dew on the ground and your hay's too wet. But then if you start too late, it dries out so quick, so it doesn't take too long for that sun to burn off all that dew, and then you're too dry. So if this video feels like I'm jumping around all over the place, it's because I am. I'm just jumping from baling to hauling hay to raking hay, getting water ready. I gotta do a little bit of fencing to open these gates so the pivot can go through. Gotta get some wheel lines ready, hook back up. So yeah, I got a lot of them juggling right now today, so it might be kind of a jumpy video. We've just got maybe about 10 windrows left to rake. So I'm gonna hop on that rake tractor and go finish that. We had a lot of winter kill in this piece here. Not sure if it's just from all the snow or all the water we had this spring. So some of it looks horrible. But then you get down in these swales where this quack grass is. Look at this stuff. Looks like my dad balled up pretty bad last night. Right here. So I'm gonna have to come back out here with a pitchfork and do some pitchfork work here. Try to spread this out a bit so it can dry. And you can see some of these little straggler pieces. And see how tall it was. Just wanted to hop off and show you that real quick. So this is one of the spots where this upper pivot comes through this gate. So I just got to undo all these wires and drop this. And down on the lower pivot, like closer to the river where we got some of them cows at in that pasture, I've got 4 spots to open up down there so that pivot can go through. So here where this lower pivot goes through, I just have these split points in the fence. So I just have to undo these wires and move this fence out of the way. Things are really starting to dry out, so it'll be good to get this water on as soon as we can. So I'm gonna run over here and get this wheel line moved out and get it ready. So this one has a motor on it, so this one isn't too bad to move. But this other one over here next to my house, that one doesn't have a motor, so you just gotta roll it by hand. But luckily it's not very long, so it's not too bad to just roll it. I almost prefer that one you gotta roll by hand, because sometimes these engines are pretty temperamental and you gotta fight with them sometimes. Now I always try to get in the habit of shutting off the gas and then the hydraulic, just so we're not leaking or losing fluids in between moves. And I always open up these ends first part of the year just to flush whatever might have crawled in here through the winter out. And we usually open them every time we move it back across the field just to keep them cleaned out. Let's run over here to the buried line and hook up the hose, and we should be ready for tonight. All right, this one will be ready whenever we get that pump on. So the one over by my house is gonna take a bit more work because it's broken apart in the middle, because we got to break it apart to go around my house. And the same with this one. Eventually, once we get over here to the neighbor's garden, we got to break off pretty much the whole half until we get to the road. So these are the two halves that I have to join back together. As you can see, they're not going to line up. And you can take one half or the other and roll it back and forth and try to go that way or this way with it. But sometimes I think it's just as easy just to break apart every couple sections, pull it down, or whichever way you need to go with it, then just put it back together instead of trying to roll it just to exactly where you need it. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now I'll just pull these two wheels this way. We'll get it close enough that we can hook this together, and we'll just do that all the way down. I've only got 3 sections I gotta do, so it only takes me a minute. They're kind of a pain sometimes to hook together because you gotta get all these little teeth lined up just perfect. And there's a rubber gasket that goes in here, this rubber gasket here. So you're trying to make sure you don't lose that and make sure that stays in place. Then you hook these together and throw a clamp around it. Takes a little bit of practice. And just start your clamp and roll it around. Okay, one down, 2 more to go. So let's do the same thing here. Open up this end so the water can flush all the gunk and whatever else is in here out. Then we'll go hook this one up and these two will be ready. So the only thing I'm worried about with these two wheel lines up here is they're on the same system as our pivots, but they're like a different branch of pipe that comes down to these wheel lines. I've got these risers that poke out of the ground every 30 or 40 feet. And this same branch runs through them pastures where we had our cows all winter. And sometimes them cows will get around these risers and, you know, bust them and kick them or whatever, run into them. And sometimes they crack and break. And you don't really know if you've got a cracked and broken one until you turn on your system and it pressurizes. So when we turn on this branch of the buried line, hopefully we don't have any risers that blow off. So I guess we'll see tonight when we get things going. So the next thing I'm gonna do is hop on this green Deutz-Allis tractor and bale up some round bales. We've got a couple sections down there under them pivots, like where the windrows are just so heavy that we don't want to take them big balers through there and try to make square bales out of them. So it's a lot easier just bring this round baler down there and roll them up round and try to fight with them square balers and going through that real heavy stuff. So I'm gonna run down there and bale up those few sections, and we should be pretty good on baling until the night. And I'll start loading some hay. So I'm hoping it's not too hot and dry. These round balers are a lot less temperamental than them big balers. But if it's too dry, like if the hay's too dry, you'll pick it up all right with this pickup reel. But then these rollers in here, they have a hard time picking the hay out from the roller and sucking it back. So then you'll just ball up right here and get plugged up. So I'm hoping that these windrows I'm about to bale up still have some moisture in them and they get sucked up into them rollers and get rolled up in that chamber. So we'll just give it a try and see. I don't have a ton to bale with this. Like I was saying, just the stuff that we don't want to take the big balers through. And if it's a larger amount of hay, I'd probably just wait till later tonight to try to bale it up, but we've got all the other stuff we want to bale square tonight, so I'm gonna try to do it right now. So all this is that I'm adjusting right here, this just adjusts the density of your bale. So the tighter you have it, the tighter your bale will be. So I'm making it fairly tight just because it's so dry right now. So I got the bale started, and that's the biggest battle, is just getting the bale started. And once that bale started in there, it picks it up pretty good, whether it's dry or not. So I think we're gonna be okay. I just wanted to hop off real quick and show you how our dam's doing. You can tell we've backed it up quite a bit. Bet we've raised this water level almost a foot on this side of the bridge. Seems like we still got plenty going down to the neighbors. So I think we're all right for a little bit. So I just finished baling this little piece right here by the pump house, and I figured I'd show you our pump real quick while I'm here, in case I don't get a chance to do it tonight. So we got one of these VFD pumps. I can't remember what that stands for, like variable flow. I can't remember what the D stands for. But what it does pretty much is it adjusts how much your pump is pumping according to your need. So if we've only got one pivot running, it's not going to pump near as hard and as much as if we got both the pivots running and the wheel lines. So it varies your flow. So it just varies how much it's pumping according to what your needs are pretty much. So inside this big pipe here is a big screen filter. I'll pop off this clamp and I'll show you. It just helps, you know, keep the water somewhat clean that we pump down to the pivots. So then we got our pump here, and then the vault, and we got another screen here in front, and there's this rubber belt that loops around that screen and rotates that screen, and there's some jets that will shoot water out once this pump's on and keeps that screen clean of moss and whatever else is floating down the river. So the water goes through a couple screens before it gets down to your pivots. We'll probably need to come back in here with the backhoe, clean out some of this silt, and put in a little arm here to try to push some more of the water this way to our pump. My dad said he was going to come do that here when he got back from lunch. So that's kind of a rough look at our pump house here. And if I remember, this is a 75 horsepower pump. That's what we got here. So I got a couple more little pieces to bale up around and be done with this for a little bit. These are some of the windrows I'm talking about. Not wanting to bring them big balers through here, these big square balers. So we're gonna try and get all this hay hauled out of here that we baled up last night and the night before. Get that put in the sheds. Then all we'll have left to haul is just what we bale up later tonight. And hopefully we can just have somebody loading that as we're baling it and get it out of here, and we can get these pivots going. Alright, that's the last of the hay until we bale up more tonight. So I'm gonna run this one up to the hay shed, and I think we'll come back and try to get these pivots going before it gets too dark. So it took us 3 full truckloads and then 2 full wagon loads to get all this hay out of here. So that took a good part of the day. And with what we bale up tonight, I don't think we'll have more than a wagon load that gets baled up tonight. There's not a whole lot left to bale. It'll be good to get these pivots turned on. It's sure been hot and dry the last couple of weeks. So real fast, while we still have some daylight, we get this swather greased back up. and my brother's going to take it down to Randall's and he's going to start cutting down there. So I'll get this greased up and ready, then we'll get them pivots turned on. So we're just flushing the buried line real quick. It was pretty clean to begin with. I think we usually try to flush it out in the fall, so there wasn't much in there. And I've got this other end open also, just with a riser opener. So I'm going to shut that riser off and then we're going to turn this pivot on. We're cutting it pretty close. We're going to run out of daylight here in 20-30 minutes. Water supply. Oil. So we want to go forward with it. As forward as clockwise. And we're going to set our depth. I think we're going to put down 1.5 inches here at first. I think we're all good. So now I got this pivot turned on. I'm going to run shut that big valve. And hopefully this will pressurize up and we won't have any problems. Long-winded bugger. Should have worn my mud boots tonight. My boots are soaking wet. All right, back to the pivot. All the nozzles seem like they're working. So all I'm going to do is just turn on that end gun. The end gun's been giving us problems, so hopefully it turns on and works. I rebuilt it last year and it still would get stuck in one spot. So let's see if it's working now. End gun is on. End gun is on. You can hear that air getting pushed out of the system. It'll take a minute for all the air to get pushed out, but it seems like we got pretty good pressure and things are working. So the problem we were having was that end gun was getting stuck in one spot. We don't know why. So last year I went and took the end gun off the pivot and I rebuilt it. So I put all new bearings in it and, you know, the whole 9 yards. It seems like it's working fine now. So we'll run up and check on our wheel lines now. And I'll probably start baling some hay. I don't know how well you can see, but those wheel lines are going now. And my dad's over here shutting that end valve that we opened up earlier today on that one. So that's a good sign that we didn't have any broken risers in this pasture where we had our cows at this winter. Because if there was, you'd know about it right away, because it'd be geysers shooting out of the ground. So that's good. I'm happy about that. So I'm just going to check the pump and make sure our screen's working. Make sure we got plenty of water. What are you doing, Piper? Cooling off? So it looks like all our jets are working. This one might be a little plugged up, so I'll run a hacksaw blade through that and try to clean it up a bit. But these other two look like they're working pretty good. It seems like we got plenty of water in here. You can probably see the wheel lines a little bit better now. Right up there's the one right by my house. And here's that other one that we rolled earlier this morning that has the engine on it. I'll run up there in a second and make sure we don't have any plugged rain birds. Everything on the VFD is looking good. Seems like all our rain birds on this wheel line are looking good. Doesn't look like any of them are plugged up at all. Run check the other one real quick. Looks like we got a plugged one right here. Hopefully this wire won't plug it and it's not down inside the rain bird. Well, that one was easy. There's one more on the end. Hopefully that one's easy too. This one isn't looking so easy. Usually when it trickles out like that, it's not right here in the end, it's down inside here. Let's see. Yeah, that one's down inside the rainbird. So that one might have to wait till tomorrow to get fixed. Just because you either have to shut the line off or open up this end valve. Because you gotta take a wrench and undo that whole rainbird, and you got water gushing out. So that one might just have to stay plugged tonight, because I need to start baling here. And luckily, with it being the very end one, this rainbird here is catching most of what this is missing. So we're not really missing any, really, with that one being plugged. I still need to unplug it though, like I said, but it's not tonight. So we got that piece finished. My brother's out there hauling the hay right now, and my dad's just finishing up his last windrow. So I got my accumulator folded up, got that side folded up. So I'm running this back up to the yard. So it's a pretty good day. We got the pivots going, got the wheel lines going, got the hay baled up out of this field, and hopefully everything will get hauled tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.